I don't know if he recognized that Ishida was a Quincy before, but it is bizarre that he had a photo of his grandpa on his person.
Yeah, for sure. He's like, I just like to look at it sometimes. Like he has like a personal filing cabinet he kind of rides around on.
He had one, and it just happened to be Ishida's grandpa.
It stood out to him, I guess.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Volume 1, the anime and manga podcast where we highlight and discuss new series each week. But today, we are back with more Dankai, which means that my name is Josh Bankai Michaels. And today, I am joined by...
Mehgan, black-haired Ichigo Perrine.
Welcome back to another episode of Dankai. It's been a minute, but we're back. Sorry that these aren't as consistent as some people would like them to be, but we're doing our best, all right?
Yeah.
And we're working on making them more consistent every day, every week.
Every week. Tune in.
Today we're going to be talking about the rescue arc of Soul Society. This is going to be our part 1 video. Part 2 may or may not be next week. We'll see. It was our plan to do it every other week, but because we have been doing a lot of One Piece, we might. And this One Piece arc that we're going to be covering is going to be a little smaller. We might do the second half next week, but don't hold us to it, okay? Today's episode is going to cover chapters 118 through 152, and I think the word Bankai sums up this whole arc.
If I had like a drinking game to play, it would be take a shot every time they say, what is it, Bankai? I was saying Dankai.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Dankai.
Yeah, Bankai. It was the word of the part 1.
Mm-hmm. But
what do you?
Journey. But I think it's so cool. I'm so glad we're here. I'm so glad we're finally getting introduced to the concept of Bankai. I mean, for me, in my memory of Bleach, this is like one of my favorite things. Especially was one of my favorite things when I was first watching the series. And I do feel like things really pick up and things start to really move in this arc. That second half of the rescue arc was cool, but it did start to feel like it was not dragging isn't the right word, but I mean it was dragging.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I kind of did it on accident. I didn't do it on purpose. I kind of read a little bit, maybe like 4 chapters past.
A little bit.
4 chapters past, because I was just like, and it was like really, really picking up. I do like the Bankais too. I said they kind of remind me of like domain expansions. Like they're all personalized to the Zanpakuto, and it was really fun to see all the like creative ones that we're seeing. And
we're seeing more of the captains, and we're seeing more of the captains like intentions and which side they kind of fall on.
Yeah, I love the internal conflict, the drama. I love how everyone has their own motivations for what they want from this little incident, I guess, and you don't know who's who. It's like it's like a murder party. Like who killed Aizen? Everyone's
for real. Where's that fool from Knives Out?
Yeah.
Where's that Foghorn Leghorn guy?
Yeah. Where's like Colonel Mustard? I think that's
I'm
the guy.
I'm here to figure out who killed Captain Aizen. Do y'all have any clues as to who might have done it?
And the lady's like, I didn't do it. I was in the lavatory the whole time.
Now, I noticed shards of fragments of ice on the floor. I'm Daniel Craig.
Yeah. It could have hailed.
Yeah.
You never know.
I love this, man. And I was kind of bummed because obviously of all the arcs, this is the one that is the most fresh to me because it's the one I think was this whole arc was the reason that I fell in love with Bleach. So it's like always fresh in my memory, but I was still, not every detail, but I was really hoping that the reveal of who is behind all of this, it was going to be revealed in this half, but it looks like it's not going to be revealed into the next half. So I was a little bummed about that. Although they are kind of, even though they haven't like outright revealed it, one character specifically is starting to show themselves as becoming more and more sinister. At first, it could be read as like a red herring, this character. But then the more we find out about him, it's like, oh no, this guy's just a bad guy.
Yeah, he's just a brat. Like he's just so annoying. Like, I just came here to annoy you. It's like, get out of here.
Yeah,
like the whole
that.
time I was like, ugh, this guy's back again.
Yeah. It's just, and again, I think next week's episode or the next Dankai episode after this is going to be really interesting because there are some things that I can't really talk about yet with one character that in hindsight, knowing what I know, when I went back and I read part of a certain character's, backstory, I did get a little confused, but I won't dive too deep into it now. Stay tuned for the next episode where I'll be able to talk about it more openly and more freely. But I love seeing the Bankai. I think this is such a cool concept. I love that everybody gets their own. And I love, again, I've said it in previous episodes, but this relationship that all the Soul Reapers have with their Zanpakuto. I think it's really cool to see them personified and to become these entities, these people that they have, that the Soul Reapers have this connection with. And Bankai is taking it to the next level. I like, how it was described in the training, couple of training chapters with Yoruchi and Ichigo that, the first test is you're on their turf and you go to their world and have to win. But to achieve Bankai, you have to first be able to summon them into the physical world or, the world that you inhabit and then defeat them there. But again, just like Zangetsu and Ichigo, their relationship and how Ichigo every time Zangetsu, and I imagine it's the same with all Soul, with Zanpakuto and all Soul Reapers, is that the Zanpakutos really do help them learn more about themselves and who they are. And Zangetsu really in this part, like the first part was about achieving power, but this is a lot of Zangetsu telling Ichigo like, you need to find your power within, and it's kind of echoed in that same conversation that Ishida has with his grandfather in the past. Like, what do you want to protect? And not relying on, like, Ichigo doesn't. There was one part that I think was so beautifully written about the Zanpakuto shattering, and he's like, that's the part of your spirit that is fragile because that's the part of your spirit that relies too much on me. Like, it's I like that, like, Ichigo's now having to, like, not to only rely on Zangetsu and his Zanpakuto. I mean, that and the Ishida part were my highlights.
I would say Ishida, that was the highlight for me in this part one. Like everything was like chef kiss, like what he went through in that fight, the flashbacks, the revenge. Like, I loved all of that. Like, that was really, really cool to see.
Yeah, he is. I forget this again because it's been so long, but I forget how much I love that character and how he really is set up to be like one of the most badass characters. I mean, out of the gate. Now, something interesting did happen with him in this portion of this arc where he lost, quote unquote, his Quincy power. But I mean, I am just constantly blown away at how cool he is. I forget, in my memory, it's all Ichigo and it's all, other characters kind of in my mind. Yeah. You get all the shine, but then I'm going back and I'm rereading it and I'm like, Uryu or Ishida is like, might be one of my favorite characters. I mean, I love Chad, I love Orihime, I love Ichigo, I love even Rukia, Renji, all these guys, but Ishida just looks all of his moves, everything that he does and learns and unlocks and unleashes is so cool and so epic. And the process of him doing it is just like, the power-ups are insane, they're beautifully drawn, and they just look badass. Like, he looks badass. He looks more badass than Ichigo sometimes.
I know.
Crazy. It was also a lot of like, there were a lot of battles, but again, the team ups this time were interesting because we get to see where a lot of these captains fall.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, end up taking the side either directly in the case of like Kenpachi or indirectly in the case of Rukia's former captain, whose name is escaping me at the moment, and I had it written down. Long white-haired guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, even though they're not directly working with Team Ichigo, they are anti this plan that is said to be unfolding, whether that's even true or not. I mean, they are kind of working on, because that letter,
set up someone.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So it is like, what's going on? Who wrote this?
Yeah. I mean, I really flew through this half. I think that this was probably one of the, like, for me, one of the most enjoyable, like, readings of, this, doing these episodes. Like, the reading this time around was probably, one of my favorite experiences so far. Because, I mean, I feel like things are finally starting to really pop off, and I'm so excited to get to that reveal in the next episode. But maybe we should just start going through it. You have anything else you want to say before we do?
let's jump in. Let's
Let's
get our
just jump in.
Bankai on.
Let's get our Bankai on.
What
huh?
is the yeah. We have to train for 3 days before we get into it. So next step, imagine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that is why these episodes don't come out so consistently, is because
we're training.
we like Dunkai is our Bankai,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard to sustain, and it takes a lot of training and a lot of days to really master. So takes a lot of energy.
Spirit energy. Yeah. It takes a lot out of us, but I think we're ready.
Oh, we're ready, dude. I'm so ready. So where it opens up is Renji and Zabimaru, and they're in Renji's cell. And again, this is the first time we get to see Zabimaru.
So cute. I mean, maybe not cute, maybe like more menacing, but like I just love. It's like a little. Was it like a monkey?
He looks like he would be like a baboon.
Yeah, like a baboon of some sort
with a snake's tail.
Yeah, he's cute.
I love the design of Zabimaru, and I love this is the first time that we're seeing that. Oh, they don't. They. I don't know what you thought going into it, because the only ones we had really I think met in their physical form was Zangetsu, I believe, at this point. But knowing that these spirits are spirits, that they can be anything.
Yeah.
When you saw that it was like this monkey with this snake's tail, were you like, oh wow, that's crazy?
I yes, it was crazy, but I was like, how adorable.
Yeah.
Like how sick. And there's another character that got a face reveal, and I was like,
yeah, this was really your arc.
What do you
this
mean?
was really your arc. But their conversation is, not a lot is talked about, other than him telling him that Ichigo's not his enemy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, we also start to see this bond, although it might be founded on like this competitiveness between Ichigo and Renji, it starts to form.
Well, yeah, competitiveness and like saving Rukia. I mean, that's what everyone kind of has in common, but all for different reasons, which I like.
Yeah.
And it makes everything feel more real.
Mm-hmm. And then it cuts back to that first fight. It's so funny because the beginning of this arc kind of starts on this battle with Byakuya and Ichigo, and then it kind of ends at the beginning of this battle with Byakuya and Ichigo.
After the 3 days of training, which is like...
Which I think was... Did it end up being a full 3 days? Or was it 2 days? Or did it still end up being 3? Because they moved Rukia's execution up.
Yeah, I think it was only 2 days. Or maybe on the third day.
Right.
It was I need to get this done today.
Right, yeah.
And it wasn't like, you have another day. Because she's like, maybe I should like push it. We have like 8 full days until... And then he loves to do that. By the way, Kubo's just like, I'm going to tell you something in this chapter, page. And then you turn the page and they're like, actually, this is not what's going to happen. I'm like,
well,
what?
I mean,
it's like either like they introduce you to a character, dead. They introduce you to like a story, non-existent. Like it's so funny to me.
Well, I mean, it did remind me, I think a lot of anime and manga do this, which is cool. I don't mind at all, actually. Sometimes I think it really works. But I mean, in one of the arcs that we just read for One Piece, Impel Down, they kind of did a similar thing where it's like to heal from these wounds will take 2-3 weeks, and then a character does it in less than a day.
Yeah.
And the same thing here. It's like it takes other Soul Reapers 10 years. That jump was crazy, though.
Yeah, it wasn't a couple days.
But
it was like literally years upon years.
Yeah, that was a bigger jump. 100 years versus 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But no, there is a reason for this before people get upset. The reasoning is that, and we do find out about Urahara and how he even was the one to develop this method. But the reason it takes 10 years is because it's supposed to take the majority of time, in my understanding, to even be able to summon a physical form of your Zanpakuto in whatever world you're in. But they're able to bypass this whole part of the process from this, living doll thing that Urahara made.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're able to skip, I don't know how many years, maybe 6, maybe 7, who knows, maybe 6. And then it usually takes maybe then the rest of the time for them to win. So at least Ichigo got a big head start.
Yeah.
So maybe 3 days isn't the biggest exaggeration, but it was still pretty crazy.
On the third day, Ichigo will rise.
Ichigo will rise to
the-
save Rukia.
Bankai.
Yeah, this so and we learned more about Yorichi too. We learned that she was a supreme commander of the secret remote squad, leader of the 1st Division Punishment Force. And speaking of long periods of time, no one's seen that girl in 100 years, and she looks fine.
Yeah, I don't really. It's not really clear to me the age process.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously they age at a much slower rate. I don't know how much slower it is, but because I also, I don't know if this has ever been, because again, a lot of stuff is foggy. And you brought up the question of, wow, I can't wait till when we were first starting, like, I can't wait to see what Rukia actually looks like.
The mentioning of like human forms.
Right. Yeah.
And that was interesting. Mm-hmm.
Especially because we meet someone else later, and they do seem to essentially their physical form. They essentially abandon it and say that they're going to go heal and recover and this and this and that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like the idea of maybe you can get the same Gigai made. Maybe you get attached to a look and you're like, yeah, that's me, and I don't feel like me unless I look like this.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea of like Yoruchi's soul is obviously over 100 years old, and they do age differently. But they also inhabit this Gigai that they inhabit, which I don't know if it's a Gigai in Soul Society or not. I think it still is. Or is that? No, it's not. Help us. I don't think it's a Gigai in Soul Society. I do think that is like a manifestation of their spiritual form, their spirit form. I don't know.
She's got a good form,
and
though.
She's got a great form. Because someone did say that early in one of our earlier episodes that Kubo didn't really think this through all the way. Because you had that great question of like, oh wow, I can't wait to see what she looks like, or
like in Soul Society.
Yeah.
Like I thought she would like change form in Soul Society.
Because she was when she was in the physical realm inhabiting the Gigai.
Yeah.
And then we got a comment saying that, oh yeah, Kubo didn't really think this part through, or
they just like, he liked how like Rukia looked in her Gigai.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or that Gigai could have been modeled to look like the form that she takes in Soul Society, which, yeah. I mean, we could sit here and speculate for hours, and I really can. But it was finally cool to get a little bit more revealed about her, and they learned some more moves, or we see some more moves like the Shunpo moves, which allow them to move around really fast. Like that was really cool. And there was also this like crazy part where I think Kubo wants to make it seem like Yoruchi's either, I don't know what he wants to make it look like she's doing, if she's like betraying him for a split second, or
that was kind
like,
of crazy. I mean, I guess she knew probably that'd be the only way to stop Ichigo at this point.
Well, yeah.
So
what he says, because like there's that panel initially when everybody sees her where she jams her whole hand into him, and maybe it was just like to put him out of commission, but it's also revealed that he is severely injured, and because she is a practitioner of medicine, I suppose on some level, one level or another. That is like a method of like, she like coated her hand in something, and like that was anesthesia that she like used her hand to inject into him. But I feel like just use a syringe.
Yeah, to sneak up behind and just get him really quick. You don't use your whole goddamn hand.
Yeah, that was aggressive. But yeah, and that's when Rukia's former captain Ukitake. He orders the rest of them because it's still like Ganju is alive, thank God.
Yeah. That was cool. I was like, oh, I mean, I figured he wasn't gone. But it was like, where is he at?
Yeah, he orders that him and the healer and everybody that they get put in prison because he still has questions for them, because
they're suspects number one.
They're number one suspects. Yeah, and I do love this guy, and I do like finding out more of him, and even this Ichigo doppelganger that Rukia was kind of obsessed with.
Yeah, that was cool. I mean, I was like, girl, that's a married man. Like, this is a drama.
This is where we find out about the Bankai training in 3 days. And we find out a little bit more about Ichigo's Zanpakuto. It's a constant release Zanpakuto. And that it has a second release, which is Bankai. And that whole concept is introduced here. And they also talk about a little bit about how the captains are even able, or that it's a requirement, a mandatory requirement for all these captains to have achieved Bankai before becoming captain. And the only person exempt from that rule is Kenpachi.
Kenny.
Good old Kenny.
Yeah, I loved seeing him again.
I love seeing him again.
He was great. At first, I was like, this guy kind of sucks. But now I'm kind of warmed up to him. For sure. Yeah,
I love him. And I did love him so much more after rereading this part. Because he's a hard guy to pin down. You know? He does just love battle. And he does just not care about anything else that's really happening. Which I do love somebody who is just that into whatever they're into, that they're like, I don't care about this or that or receiving any consequence or any punishment because I'm just here to do my thing. Let me do my thing.
You're just here to have fun.
Yeah.
They say it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
He just likes to have fun.
'Cause Kenny just wants to have fun.
Ooh.
Oh, Kenny.
God damn.
Just wants to have fun.
He really does.
He does.
And he does.
And he does.
And he does.
And he does. We'll go back to more of the Bankai training because I thought this was so cool. I thought Zangetsu's like test for Ichigo was so cool. But it finally cuts back to Orihime and Ishida, Uryu, and they're in disguise.
So cute. I mean, he just like is really nice to Orihime.
Yeah.
And I love like there's like a couple moments with him and her where she's like, I'm sorry, like, I'm kind of useless. Like, I'm not really doing much. And he's just like, you can protect us and shield us. Like, you can do a lot of things. Like, you're great. And she's like, thanks. And I was like, oh, Orihime. You have all these freaking monsters around you fighting and freaking putting gloves on and getting crazy. Like, she's like, damn, I can only do this. But she's training hard and she's working hard.
I love their relationship too. I think it's so cute. The scene where they're, it like flashes back to how they got their outfits and their changing, and she makes like a little dressing room for him and stuff. I do love their just dynamic with each other, and I do like how he is just very kind, and he does, he might consider her to be someone not as strong as him or Chad or Ichigo, but he doesn't he's still very like respectful and treats her like a human, and not like she's beneath him at all. And he cares about her, and I think that again, I think there were moments in this arc. Yes, Ichigo does achieve Bankai and show up at the very end to save Rukia, but I still think that Ishida might have had one of the coolest moments.
I think he stole the show.
Yeah,
truly, like him and Kenny.
Yeah,
like stole it. Like that. I was like, where Ichigo who? Yeah. I was like, I mean, at the end it was like so rewarding. Of course, like. Ichigo finally saved Rukia, like finally, like they really did it. But everything else in between with him, like it was cool to see the training moments, but the real kings of this first part of this arc were them.
Yeah. And we get to see more about I think all of them do this, but I think Orihime is just so much more maybe conscious of protecting others. Like she doesn't want to get a lot of collateral damage. She doesn't want anybody to get hurt at all.
Yeah.
If possible. I think everybody wants that, but I think she's more vigilant in making sure that doesn't happen, that nobody gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Because we see this was insane, and I completely forgot. I mean, I knew that Kurosuchi was a bad guy, this captain guy, or at least that he was just like very menacing. But I forgot how like crazy this fight and how crazy
he is.
How he just mistreated. I mean, the way he treated his subordinates. I mean, he basically sent these people on a suicide mission.
I mean, look
to
how
kamikaze freaking Orihime and Ishida.
For real, look at his freaking daughter.
That is that.
Dude,
that
was
crazy.
crazy because he was like, "Oh, I made her," and I was like, "Oh, this guy's research, all this stuff," and it's like, "No, I just made a baby." Oh, okay, that's what you meant.
Well, yeah, but he took, I guess, and that's the only reason why I think I had that confusing sort of like question in the beginning about the Gigai, because that is not his daughter's body. Like he said he made that Gigai, and because he's like, yeah, it doesn't matter what happens to her body.
Oh, I thought he just modified her.
There was a line in the translation that we read or that I read that where I'm pretty sure he said, oh, yeah, it doesn't matter what happens to her body because that's just a Gigai that I made. And either he can repair it or just make a new one, which I assume is maybe again. I don't.
Someone explain Gigais to us because.
Well, not just Gigai, because I understand
Gigais in Soul Society.
Because I think I have the answer, but again, if I'm wrong, let us know.
Is it a spoiler?
No. But I do think that it is just that it confused me because of the way that he kind of evaporates later. I thought to myself, oh, maybe that was maybe he put his soul into a Gigai too, a super modified Gigai, and that was his spirit leaving, and he has other Gigai, because I forget, like I really do, like with characters like him, like they don't for whatever reason stand out in my memory a lot, and I don't know why after what I read in this time around.
Yeah, for sure. This fight was probably like one of the highlights, and I would say like between this fight and the Tosin fight with Kenny, that was so sick. Like that was two highlights right there for me. Like that Tosin Kenny fight was freaking awesome. Yeah. And that's what I was saying, like domain expansion. He's like, this whole thing is my Bankai.
It was so funny.
Oh yeah.
Because, as we're reading it, you said, this reminds me of domain expansion, and you were farther than me. And again, it's been, 10 years since I've read Bleach.
You were training.
I was like, yeah, I was training. I mastered and that's why Bankai, the Bankai came 10 years later. I wasn't at that part yet, and so when you said that, I was like, I guess,
yeah.
And then we got to the Tosin. I got to the Tosin part, and I was like, oh, this is what she was talking about, because it's for sure, it does feel a lot like that. So I get it now. Sorry for ever doubting you.
Yeah, no, that's not what he said. He goes, is it? No, he goes like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he gave me like a side eye, and then he like rolled his eyes at me. He's like, just read, and like that's what he said.
Yeah, I thought you would just like kind of go with what I was saying and not reveal the truth. But I didn't think you wanted to make me look bad on camera and reveal my true identity to the world. But here we are.
Here we are out in the open.
Here we are. We're caught with our pants down right
now. Much like a lot of these characters were.
Kind of, yeah.
That was just a little segue work for you guys.
You can't just make up segues.
What do you mean? That's how it's done.
Much like people make up a bunch of stuff in this arc.
Much like people.
Yeah, I don't know.
Bankai.
Yeah, and Bankai, and now we're back. But this is where this fight happens, and Orihime protects a Soul Reaper, and we get to see his confusion. But he was the same one who kind of was at first curious because their badges didn't match. Now this is where when he's kind of like, all right, I don't trust these guys. I don't trust you guys. Blah blah blah. There's another group that comes in and it's like, hey guys, you're with our squad. Fuck these guys. And they're like, oh man, he's so nice. And then Orihime's like that. And then Ishida's like, I don't know why they're being nice. We are wearing the wrong thing. We said we were part of the wrong.
They heard the conversation.
Yeah. And then he's like, like in a movie where your ears start ringing, he's like, Orihime, run. And it's just like, boom, boom, boom.
And that was really emotional. Like that little story that we got with one of the Reapers.
That was so unnecessary. But also, I'm so glad it was there.
Yeah, right? It made it feel like way more severe than just being like, oh, they blew up and they're dead now and that's it.
No, yeah. That was so unnecessary. But I like when I read it, I loved that it was a part of it. Like I've never like he would have just been some random guy
Mhm.
that just blew up, but obviously Kubo wants you to like feel bad or at least know like how fucked up this guy is.
Yeah, it was really aggressive.
So it gives you
There
the
was like
full
freaking blood splattered on people, and they were just like,
I mean, he's like looking out the window and he's like, yeah, finally made it. Finally became a Soul Reaper, but I am the new guy. Huh. Maybe one day I'll be able to get to become captain. And then he's like, oh, the intruders. Someone has invaded Soul Society for the first time in over X amount of years. Maybe this is my shot. And then it cuts to just him being blown up.
sad.
Yeah, this guy's.
I mean,
it's
ruthless, like completely and utterly ruthless, which is really really makes me wonder, like, what happened to this like division, because our homeboy, what's his name? Oh my god,
Urahara.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Urahara, Bucket Hat. I always call him Bucket Hat. Urahara was like the captain of this division,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Or the
yeah.
creator. No, the founder.
The founder.
So like, was he doing this shit?
No, I mean, I don't remember. Which I could be so wrong. Again, the farther we go into Bleach,
I mean, yeah, you don't have to well, obviously read it, but
Well, no,
I'm like,
I'm more
it's
so
really,
saying to people watching and listening, the farther we go in to this, you'll realize like how fog. I mean, I don't know what must have happened to. I must have been completely coherent and like just like my reading comprehension must have been like just great through the roof. And then I must have because I
and you
I
got
wrote-
hit by that car on your bike.
hit by that car called addiction to alcohol. I must have just like a lot of it starts to get really foggy, like really foggy. And I remember like really cool plot moments and then like the details couldn't tell you. Yeah. Hit by that car called alcohol.
Oh,
That's a good song.
it's like a country song.
Country song, yeah.
Yeah.
I was hit
Hit
by
by
a car
the
called alcohol.
alcohol.
We'll get it.
And she took me by the hand,
Okay.
and she put me behind the steering wheel.
Oh my God,
and
drunk
I
driving?
went down that hill.
That is pretty good, but pretty dark. It's like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride.
Yeah, that's a story about drunk driving. If you don't know, by the way,
Yeah.
not the best. But yeah.
So yeah, he was the one who founded it. I mean, I don't know. I don't think, but it does explain why he had Urahara had all these gadgets.
Gadgets, yeah.
And he could like make all these, or just either he was. I think he said he was getting a lot of them from Soul Society, but I mean, I'm sure he also knew how to make stuff, or just like he was so just informed because he was the founder of this organization, the research and development,
Mm-hmm.
team. Like this guy knows his stuff
Mm.
for sure. So yeah, I mean, I guess when this guy took over, maybe Urahara was doing crazy shit, or maybe when this guy took over,
He was the one.
yeah, crazy shit started popping off. But yeah, this was for sure the highlight for me because after that moment, like crazy moment happens where he basically, jokers everybody, puts it like a little cell phone with a bomb into all his subordinates' stomachs. The Soul Reaper that Orihime saves takes her away,
Mhm.
and it's kind of Ishida versus Kurosuchi.
Mayuri Kurosuchi.
Kurosuchi. Yeah. And this, again, we get some more information about Quincy's, or we just get to see how their powers work in a Ishida flashback, which was so awesome.
Yeah.
This guy is a villain. This guy is so deranged.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's like a mad scientist,
Yeah,
but
pretty much,
he
yeah.
uses like human test subjects, and he's like, I'm gonna research on you till y'all minced meat, and I'm
Yeah.
like, Jesus Christ.
And he says, "Oh, you're a Quincy," because he's got this girl there. The girl is not doing much. Ishida just pulls out a bow. He's like, "Oh, you're a Quincy? I've studied lots of Quincy's, and I'm actually like done. I've kind of learned everything about them, and I'm done." Meaning that he's gone. Like he's just tortured so many, cut so many open, and studied.
I mean,
them.
literally 2,661 Quincy's is what he studied. That was
Is
the
that what he
exact
said?
number. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, you gotta put your revenge boots on, revenge glove on,
Yes.
and get to work
and
for
he,
all these Quincy's.
And he did say, dude, he said, yeah, and the last one I brought in. Oh, because Ishida mentioned something about his pride. He's like, you're going to talk about your pride now? because all of the Quincy's that I brought in at some point through my studies, when I'm freaking drilling holes in their head while they're still alive,
Yeah.
they all mention their pride. And the last guy I brought in, some old man talking about his student that he had and blah, 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 how he's going to avenge me or whatever. He's like, I forget the guy's name. This was kind of crazy. Unless, I don't know. Kurusuchi, I don't know how much, I don't know if he recognized that Ishida was a Quincy before, but it is bizarre that he had a photo of his grandpa on his person.
Yeah, for sure. He's like, I just like to look at it sometimes. Like he has like a personal filing cabinet he kind of rides around on. Yeah. And then he opens it up. He's like, okay, let me see which one of your relatives I murdered. Yeah. Quincy or not.
That's what I mean. You said he killed, the exact number was 2,000 something.
Yeah, 2,661 Quincy's.
And he didn't have to rifle through a filing cabinet of photographs. He had one, and it just happened to be Ishida's grandpa.
He stood out to him, I guess.
My headcanon is that he knew,
he knew. Yeah.
Yeah, he made the assumption that this kid, if he's a Quincy, the last of the Quincy's were these people, so it had to be this. I don't know. I'm just assuming he made some sort of connection.
Maybe it was a coincidence.
Fuck yeah.
That was good.
That was not good.
Stop!
It was amazing.
Thank you so much.
It was amazing. It was fantastic. I meant to say it wasn't just good. That's why you reacted that way. But yeah, we get to see that cool Ishida flashback and more about his relationship with his dad too, and just again, Quincy's and what they sort of fought for and represent, and what that next generation of Quincy looked like. Because we see Ishida, obviously he says I forget this guy's name. He shows him the picture and he's like, I'll tell you that man's name. He was, blah blah blah. He was my master and my grandfather, and I'm gonna kill you basically.
You're done. You're dead.
And then there's a flashback of him, and Ishida's talking to his dad. And he's saying his dad's saying oh, you're hanging out with my dad again? You're hanging out with your grandpa again? I told you not to don't bother with any of this Quincy stuff. Let the Quincy's die with him and yada, yada, yada. And Ishida says, well, I don't understand why you don't like Quincy's. And his dad basically says, because there's no money in it.
There's no profit for them.
Yeah.
This evil ass, money hungry guy.
But the grandpa, again, being wise, a wise master, I think, tells Ishida exactly what it is. And I think that it's that whole conversation about protecting and how he needs to understand or realize what he wants to protect, because his father, because he says what is my dad protecting then? Money? And he just puts his hand on his head and he's like, no, you'll figure it out one day. And when you do, that's when you need to figure out what you need to protect, or want to protect. And so I think what it is his dad is also, because when he mentioned money the first time, the grandpa wasn't don't listen to your dad. All he cares about is money. He was yeah, your dad is your dad. He has a kid. He has a family. He has a house. He has things he needs to pay for. So I think this is all just a way of saying the dad is being cold to Ishida because he is that's his way of protecting them by not being involved with this Quincy stuff, by letting it die. He's I'd rather just work and make money and have a safe life for my wife and my child than to get involved in this Quincy stuff that doesn't pay anyway.
This Quincy nonsense.
Yeah, this Quincy bullshit. and risk putting my family in danger, or risk my son following in mine and his grandfather's footsteps and putting himself in danger, which happened anyway. But that's what happens. That is what happens when you tell someone not to do something.
Exactly.
Which is why it's because I felt every friend that I ever had whose parents were cool with drugs, none of them, really grew up to be crazy drug addicts. I'm not talking about parents who were doing drugs and were yeah, but people who were yeah, you smoke weed? Oh, yeah, it's no big deal. Or, oh, yeah, you had a couple drinks and you're 17, or maybe not 17, maybe 18. Maybe 18.
18.
But, but underage. You're drinking underage, no big deal, just be safe, blah, blah, blah. All those people, I feel grew up to become much more responsible with substances than parents who were no, you're never allowed to do anything ever. Then when they're 21, and they're finally able to drink.
They
and
go
smoke.
off.
They go too hard.
Yeah.
Like way too hard. And that's what happened to Ishida. He went way too hard on that Quincy.
He went way too hard on that Quincy, way too hard on that paint.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's here now.
He's addicted to Quincy now.
Yeah. Don't be like him.
Yeah.
This is a PSA.
Or do, because he's one of the coolest characters in this part of the arc, if not the coolest character. But yeah, this fight was so sick because then it flashes back to him, and we learn a little bit more about the glove that he's wearing. And the glove that he's wearing, well, first of all, Kudos, this guy's name is so hard for me to say. Kurosuchi. Kurosuchi's Zanpakuto basically does immobilize or paralyze you, but it's not a normal form of paralysis. It's a form of paralysis that still allows you to feel pain.
Yeah, because he's a psycho. Yeah, he likes it. And he goes, I hate the screaming of man.
Yeah, in the translation I read, he started jerking off a little bit.
Oh my God, he did, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he couldn't help it.
Yeah, we didn't.
I forgot about that.
We didn't read the Viz translation. We read the Jizz translation. Yeah.
No, I was thinking Buyakuya.
Oh yeah.
Bukakuya.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get that going. Jizz Media. Yeah. We'll work on it. Guys. But yeah, we find out that he's got this sort of this toxin in his Zanpakuto. So Ishida basically uses the reishi or the spirit energy around him to create like these like puppet strings that kind of move his body. That was the first fucking sick thing that he did. And the second sick thing that he did. And by the way, all of these things that he's doing, Kurosuchi's so just like blown away. He's like, out of all the,
are you a genius?
Oh, out of all the Quincy that I dissected, none of them could do this. Like none of them could do this. And the second thing that he does is he ends up like so sick. Like he takes his glove, which is like one of the coolest designs, his bow and glove. And it has these like two things coming out of it, and he just freaking snaps one. And he's like, I'm going to disobey you one more time, master. And then freaking all this spirit energy starts gushing out of one side. And then he gets like a wing.
Yeah.
And he gets like this, like, just like his whole like outfit, this wing, like these like geometric shapes.
Yeah, that was sick.
It was, and like all the buildings, since they're made of spirit energy too, are just like being absorbed, into him. And it's just like, this is like cooler than anything Ichigo's ever done up until this point.
I mean, yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. It's really true. He really shined brightly.
He really
in
did.
This fight.
And one thing I kind of did want to talk to you a little bit right here. I got it right here on my notes right here. Because Kurosuchi releases his Zanpakuto and then later his Bankai. But there was like a little editor's note or translation note that his Bankai or the spirit is known as the protector of people and the souls of deceased children. And this man, this person does not seem like he is protecting or, respecting anyone's soul. I mean, he's just ripping them apart.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know why this fellow.
That's interesting. Maybe he just doesn't work on kids or something.
Yeah, he's like, I respect their souls too much.
Yeah. No, he goes, I'm nice to women. And I was like, look, you beat your daughter.
No, he did say he likes the sound of women's screams.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't trust anything this guy says.
Yeah, he doesn't speak. He speaks in riddles.
He really does.
Yeah, he's the Riddler.
Yeah, he has like a demon baby Zanpakuto too.
I do think that he is like just like modified a lot though, because when he gets blasted later, we see like whatever is on his head, we see it like cracked open, and we see like hair coming out of it.
Yeah. Maybe he's just like so badly disfigured from all of the modifications. He like tries to cover it up.
Yeah. With that. But yeah, his Zanpakuto is super sick. And even his Bankai is super sick.
Yeah,
too.
his Bankai, that's what I meant. It's a Bankai. His Bankai is like a demon baby thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was saying. Like, this reminds me, you say jujitsu and domain expansion, but for me, I was getting at this portion, I was getting just like crazy Hell's Paradise kind of vibes, because of the way these like ancient sort of spirits look.
Yeah, they look like monsters, like the monsters from that world. Yeah. They're like kind of human sometimes, but kind of not.
Yeah. But we also, that's when we see his daughter and the way he treats his daughter, and he just beats her up, and it's just horrible. And I don't know why anybody follows him or is brainwashed or has Stockholm syndrome from this guy.
Or like lets it just blindly lets him do all this shit. Like crazy.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. Going back to what we said, I think in a previous episode about these people just suck. Who was another character that was saying that they used to push people into pits with hollows until like...
Oh, that was Pretty Boy.
Yeah, until like X amount of years ago. They
well, it's like
pretty savage.
Tosin was like, oh, I'm gonna fight for justice. I'm gonna fight for what's good. And I'm like, why aren't you getting down this fool? This fool's not for justice. This fool's killing people.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, that's kind of goes back to, and it's so funny because I think someone has a line in this arc too, and there was a similar line in One Piece where someone does talk about justice, and they do say that like it just depends on who's. So to Tosin, maybe...
He gets a pass?
Well, no, maybe Kurosuchi is... It's not... Maybe he is delivering justice because he is killing or trying to kill the intruder who, in his mind, is jeopardizing the safety of their realm and soul society, maybe.
Well, I wouldn't say the fight between them he tried to stop. I would say just him and his behaviors in general. Like, you can do research, but this fool really likes to kill and hurt people in the process. So I'm like, that's not justice.
Well, I mean, a lot of people, it's crazy what people do in the name of justice. A lot of bad people have done a lot of bad things in the name of justice. And it is all about how you define justice. That's why I'm thinking maybe he would give him a pass. I don't know, though.
Wild.
Either way, that flashback happens. He breaks the glove. So sick. We see Kurosuchi's Bankai. And then Ishida is basically able to, once he's broken off that piece of that glove, he is able to basically, because I wrote it down that... it basically diffuses Reishi at a high level, so when he breaks it, it's gonna overload, and it's not gonna be enough for any human Quincy to maintain. But if he does break it, he'll get immense power for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, but then he will never all his the spirit energy is just being spilled out, poured out, so it's gonna be gone. His Quincy abilities are gonna be gone.
Yeah, I have
forever.
a theory about that. Because his grandpa was kind of saying, you'll know when you're able to defend, what you'll want to defend. So I feel like when he does break the glove, he'll still be able to use it because he was able to make that decision. Because I don't think he would have used it otherwise. So when he's like, when he probably breaks that glove, he's going to be defending someone that he really cares about.
Maybe. I honestly can't remember. And that's so cool for me too, because I get to go back, even as someone who's already experienced it once. You know how we always say if we watch something like super sick, we say man, I wish I could forget that so I could re-experience it all over again. That's me right now, because I'm like, damn, I can't wait to figure out how he gets it back. And then there's my voice in my head is like, but you've read it already.
Yeah, you already did this.
I already did it. But this is when Kurosuchi stabs himself, and that's where that he kind of floats away, and he's like, I'm gonna go recover, but he's not in his body, and his daughter gives Ishida the antidote to the poison, and Ishida wins. Ishida wins that fight, and it was one of the coolest and most badass moments in Bleach up until this point.
I agree.
This is when, Ishida's like, I'm excited to go meet everybody, but I've lost my powers. I don't know what that means for me. And he comes across Tosin, who basically imprisons him with everybody else.
Tosin's sick.
I love Tosin. Tosin always reminded me of the guy from Star Trek, the Reading Rainbow guy.
I never watched Star Trek.
What is it? Geordie LaForge with the little... Bzz. I'll say this. I love Star Trek. Now, I mean, there's just more Star Wars than there is Star Trek. Kind of, I guess. There's a lot more Star Trek now. But anyway, I actually, maybe this is controversial, maybe this is not, but J.J. Abrams' first Star Trek movie with Chris Pine was one of the coolest movies I've ever seen. It was cooler than some Star Wars movies. It was so good. And
Never watched it.
Can we watch it?
I have not seen any Star Trek.
If you haven't seen any,
ever.
If you haven't seen any, this is kind of a really good movie to watch because it kind of resets everything up and redoes everything, but in a really cool way. Can we please watch it? It would make me so happy. I genuinely.
I can't make any promises.
Why? What do you have against it?
I don't know. I'm just this far. I'm this far gone.
It is really cool. Movie night.
Interesting.
I want to know why you're so
I'm not
doubtful.
saying interesting. I'm just saying like interesting. Like
Winona Ryder's in it.
Interesting.
All right, whatever. I thought I could get you with that one. Yeah. So Tosin is really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
I love his design for sure.
Yeah.
Although, biggest simp in Bleach, possibly. Tosin.
Really?
I mean, just his backstory, like, that was
yeah.
so crazy. He was just getting like jerked around by this like girl.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I think she just moved on with her life.
I think he
biggest simp.
because he said this is what a simp is because he has this flashback where he's like saying like, this girl's beautiful. I'm in love with this girl, even though I can't see her. She's beautiful. She's telling him about and she was being a little condescending too. Okay, the way she was talking to him. I don't like the way she was talking to him either. But because she's telling him about the sky, whatever. She's like, oh man, the clouds are in the way. Like I wish I could get these ugly clouds out of the way so that I could see all the lights. And he's like, she's so beautiful. I didn't have the heart to tell her like, I love clouds. I love them, you know? And then it cuts to like whatever happens. And then he's like, man, fuck clouds. I'm gonna show you all the stars and I'm gonna become the embodiment of this thing that you want. Like not even that I want, that you want. That's some simp shit. That's some major simp energy. Like I'm gonna become what you want, you know? And I feel like he obviously really loved her and he really liked her. And I feel like he really wanted to be with her. And she didn't say nothing about nothing. She just came back one day and was like, oh, guess what? Like some major friend zone shit where she's like, I'm getting married. And he's like, oh, cool. She's like, and I'm becoming a Soul Reaper. I'm leaving. And she's like, I'll still come. And the way she said it, that's why I was saying I didn't like the way she was talking to him. She's like, yeah, I'll come. Like, she basically said, like, I'll come in and like check up on you. Like, she looked at him. I don't know, man. Sometimes I get the vibe that she looked kind of down on him for, being blind or whatever, which was like, or thought maybe less of him for being blind or whatever, which is fucking rude and not okay.
Yeah, well, she died.
Good. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Biggest simp in Bleach. I'm surprised there's not a bigger one. Yet.
Yeah, who knows? Still got a lot.
You know. Who knows? You know. You should know.
Still got a lot of reading to do.
Yeah.
I'm just saying he is clearly a very capable man, and I just felt like she was being a little rude, talking down to him a little bit, and I didn't like that. But he is still a fucking simp, dude.
And everyone's also, gonna be, what the fuck?
And also, that's not okay. Being a simp, not okay. Anyway, but this is where Jin. Well, okay. Now we cut back to before Jin, the Jin thing. We do cut back to Ichigo, and we do get a little bit more of this like Bankai test that Zangetsu is doing, and it's so fucking cool, man. Zangetsu's like, okay, yeah, I'm here. That you drew the outline of
the
this,
Tenchin Tai.
So sick, and that Urahara invented it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, okay, I'm in the physical world now. Here's my test. Basically, it's just a bunch of swords rain down. And he's like, one of those swords is me. All of these swords, this is what I love about these fights. They are like, even if it's just a little deep, they are like a little deep, He's like, every sword in here represents a part of your spirit. Some are stronger than others. Some are fragile. Some are frail. Some are weak. Some are this. Some are that. They all represent parts of your spirit, but there's only one that either is me or will defeat me. Or is me, I think he says, and defeat me. And so, yeah, he just has to go through all these swords. Now, I think from a mangaka point of view, this is such a cool thing to do where as a reader, that you're this protagonist that you love, Ichigo.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to get a new sword when he, achieves Bankai.
Mm-hmm.
So you basically just get to see this guy go shopping for swords.
Shopping spree.
Yeah, this is so cool. You get to see him kind of test drive all these cool blades. And I just think that's from like an audience point of view, that's so cool. It's like, what if he gets that one? Or what if that's the one? And you just they all look kind of different. And I do remember kind of at the time being like, oh, what's it gonna look like?
Yeah.
I was really invested.
You were, and you still are.
No, and I still am for sure. But I do know. I do remember. I do remember. But that's where Jin starts going around, causing a little bit of ruckus.
Yeah, but like stirring the pot once again.
He sets Izuru free. Izuru being, and I do love Izuru too. There's one Bleach cover with Izuru, and it's just like all these like black robes like draped around him. It's so sick. But he goes to free him from his cell, and they get up to a little mischief, or at least Jin does.
Mm-hmm.
But then it cuts back to Ishida, Ganju, and Chad, and they're all waking up in a cell, some sort of holding cell, but they're all patched up. Mm-hmm. Ganju's patched up, Chad's patched up. Everybody's there, everybody's fine. And now we get to see that Orihime is with Kenny and Ikaku.
Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah.
Kenny's huge.
Yeah, he's so sick. And I love him. He's just like a bloodthirsty maniac who just wants to fucking party, dude.
He
He's
does.
Like,
Yeah. He's a party animal for sure.
Oh, that guy's a raging party animal, dude. He's at every rager, dude. He's the last one at every rager.
Yeah, he's the type to like jump on top of the foldable like table.
Yeah, he's
that
boisterous.
people are playing like beer pong on. He's the first one to like jump on it and like ruin it for everyone.
And then everybody gets mad, but he's just like, guys, I'm just having fun.
Yeah, but everyone's like mad for like a second, and they're like, classic Kenny, like no one's like really mad.
But I feel like even if people do get mad, like he likes it because he's like, that you guys just don't know how to have fun.
That's true. Yeah, he puts it on you, and then you feel like, damn, am I not fun?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
like, no, he's just crazy. You're fine.
He's awesome, and he's I do remember him becoming one of my favorite characters at a certain point. But yeah, because Orihime's there with everybody, and then we get a little interesting. We cut away from them for a little bit, but they're going to find. They're going to the execution site.
Yeah, they're gonna go find because Kenny wants to find Ichigo again. He's like obsessed with Ichigo again. So he's like, if you go there, I know you'll lead me to him. So let's go, girl.
Yeah, and then this is where this is kind of weird too because I this is foggy to me too, and I didn't really remember this, but I guess Matsumoto, the girl with
Mole Gang, rise up.
Mole Gang, Moge Gang, or is that how you say? Because we were just watching Zatch Bell and Fulgore, one of my favorite characters of all time. It's like Moge. I think that's boobs. Anywai, the girl with the big titties.
Opie is boobs.
Opie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, because he goes chi Opie. Moge must be like squeeze.
Yeah, Moge.
Yeah, squeeze. Okay. Anyway, well, I just like to Moge those Opies.
Yeah, I was like, oh, she's so pretty.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
I was
and
like, Moge, rise up.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Comment if you have a mole.
Your mole is so sick, and it's in the most aesthetically pleasing place, by the way. It's like so sick.
Thank you.
You like,
I forget I have it sometimes.
but for whatever reason, and I get it, childhood trauma. People like point at it. You said people used to like, your uncle used to try to wipe it away like it was a smudge on your face.
That's happened once, yeah, and that was like really embarrassing.
It must have really like affected you because that
was the only time really I've like had anyone say anything. It's just.
It's I'm envious.
Yeah,
I have
you
one
could get a
kind of
tattoo.
Right here. I could.
Yeah, same spot.
And then, didn't like Marilyn Monroe have one too?
Yeah, that was on her lip, and Matsumoto has one like on her.
Oh, I got one kind of on my chin, but hairs grow out of it sometimes. That's not cool.
No, that's a real mole. This is a beauty mark.
See, it's even called a beauty mark, and mine's a mole. Like freaking Fred Savage in Goldmember over here. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I guess her and Jin were pretty tight when they were kids, which I don't really remember.
Yeah, I don't know if like they were tight. I just think that he like saved her from death. I mean, she looked like fucked up. She was like on the floor, like, and he was like, "Eat this." And, I mean, he looked kind of not the best when he was a kid too. He's probably like a shitty kid.
He looked the same. He looked like a punk ass little kid.
Yeah.
But they say that they get tired because you don't normally need food if you're just like as much food unless you're using a lot of spirit energy.
She's probably like training or something.
No,
like
she didn't
fighting.
even know. I don't think that she just had it. Or maybe she didn't. I mean, I don't know, but I can't remember. But it did look, or maybe she didn't know she had it, but she was just like, I don't know, not good at really like, I don't know. But either way, yeah, she found him like, he found her passed out and seems like they became friends for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Then we find out that Hinamori escaped, and Hinamori obviously being Aizen's assistant.
Momo. And there was comments too that like it's pretty much like not said but said that like her and Aizen like fucked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, someone did say that in our comments last time. Like
a lot of people said it.
Even Kubo said like someone, but I think the comment I was thinking of too was like someone said that Kubo said it was like asked to him in an interview or something, and he was like, "I'd rather not say. I'd rather like leave it up to interpretation," or like something like that, something vague like that. Which of course, dude, I'd do the same thing. If someone was like, "Did they fuck?" I'd be like, "Well, actually, no." I'd probably be like, yeah. Or actually, I could, but that's such a kind of safer answer to say like,
I'd rather not say.
Because then maybe the people who don't want it to happen are going to be like, it didn't. That means it didn't.
Yeah.
And the people who do want it to happen goes, that means it totally did.
Yeah. Ambiguous is the way to play the game for sure. Mm-hmm. For sure. It leaves more up to the imagination, you know?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think Momo left anything to the imagination because they definitely fucked. But yeah, that was crazy. I mean, and it would kind of justify. I mean, she does look up to him. She is or was his captain, so she is bound to him by honor.
He's fine.
He is.
Most of the captains are.
He is, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the criteria. I mean, I know the criteria is like, oh, if you kill one of the divisions, or you have to go through this many trials. And I was like, if you're fine,
you also have to be fine. That is one that they left out.
You have to be fine, okay. And maybe the other guy, that nasty ass guy, freaking Kurosuchi, maybe he was fine, but then he
he
tried
to get too much plastic surgery. He did a little Michael Jackson.
Yeah. But I think that is the criteria for sure, because everyone is good looking,
gorgeous.
Even like I really liked the introduction where we got to see Soifon.
Oh yeah, she was really cool.
She's cool. I really like her, like her outfit. It was like really cute.
Yeah. She's so sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do want to, as we get farther in, I do want to go back and watch some of the episodes because
I want to see the fight definitely with like Kenny and Tosen, and then I want to see I forget to pronounce his name.
Which one?
Quincy.
Ishida.
Or
Ishida.
Uryu. That's the one I always forget. So that would be sick to see too, that fight.
I just say Ishida all the time because it's just easier for me to say
Uryu.
Ishida. Uryu is like, it's
Uryu.
not hard to say, but it's harder for me to say.
Who are you?
I'm Josh.
Oh.
Yeah. Just Josh. The
Uryu?
co-host of this show
Who
with
are
you, just
Uryu?
Josh.
I was thinking of Uryu, like, who are you? Uryu.
I already told you though.
I'm gonna release my freaking.
You're gonna lose your what?
I said I'm gonna release my Bankai.
Oh, you're gonna release your Bankai? What is it?
Bankai.
A freaking giant plushie?
Yeah. Or a giant pug.
It probably is both. A giant plushie pug.
And I'm like, Bankai.
Yeah.
Pug.
It's like the spirit of all pugs or something.
Pug. Yeah. Spirit of all pugs. Reunite.
That's good. You just gotta throw in like one cool word after it, like storm or or no, but like reunite.
Pug spirits reunite.
Blizzard.
Tornado.
Okay, I like it.
Thank you.
I like it. We'll animate that.
Yeah. Or someone please animate that.
Yeah. But I do like again everything that happens in this portion too, because it makes things even more confusing because we do see that Hinamori has escaped and it seems as if she's going after Jin, but she's actually going after Toshiro, which Toshiro's the one. Toshiro and Matsumoto are the ones who found out that she even escaped, and Toshiro realizes like, I need to go help her because she's going after Jin, so I need to help her or else Jin is going to destroy her. Meanwhile, he gets there and she's going after him. Yeah,
that was a good twist.
Yeah,
that was a great twist. That's what I knew. Something's up. Byakuya, something's up with him. I know for sure something. He's not letting it all out, because even at the end he goes, I would explain why I don't want to save Rukia, but there's nothing to discuss. So there's some type of plan. There's already a plan, but there's something underneath the plan that we haven't seen yet. Like Aizen's letter, it's definitely forged, or someone convinced him to write something in order to take it off of someone else's back. I don't know, but
yeah, it's crazy because the plan is basically, and I wrote the name down, but it is basically just the execution.
Yeah, it kind of ignites
weapon.
that power. So someone wanted to take that and destroy like all of Soul Society.
It's only activated when someone is executed, and when it does successfully execute a Soul Reaper, it gains temporary power. And someone is planning on, and Eisen in his letter said that someone was going to do that so that they could harness the power of that weapon and destroy Soul Society. And then that person was Toshiro. Now, Toshiro is even, shocked by this, of course, but he also says, he is dumbfounded, but he also says, like, Eisen, that does not sound like something Eisen would say. And Eisen,
for you to be like, oh, this is my last wish for you to, like, get revenge on me. Like, he was more smart than that. Come on, Momo.
Yeah, he's like, this makes no sense. You knew him better than I did, and this, like, he would never say anything like this. So it's either forged or it's this or it's that. But she is so just in a daze. Like, she is so just fucked. She snapped.
She snapped.
So she's just going after him no matter what. But yeah, I mean that was a pretty cool twist. And he's able to kind of put her out of commission, and then it's kind of him versus Jin. And Toshiro has an awesome line where he says, because she was gripping her sword so tightly for revenge that her palm started to bleed. And he said that if you ever made Momo bleed, then I'd fucking kill you. He says fucking too.
Yeah, he does. Just like the time before when he started like jerking off. That was canon. Yeah, the Jizz translation.
Yeah, I read it in Jizz, jizz.com.
Jizzmedia.
Jizzmedia.com. But he... yeah, we finally get to see what his Zanpakuto is when it's released, and it is like, I love his aesthetic, his vibe, his character design, and paired with his Zanpakuto being like ice.
Yeah,
is so sick.
Yeah, he has white hair, right?
Yeah.
He's cool. He's a cute little guy.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he's sick as fuck, dude, and he's like, I love all of his Zanpakuto abilities. His Bankai, which we don't get to see yet, but I like that. I like that a lot too.
I like that.
I like that. I like that. So yeah, we also get, that's where we also covered Uruhara's past. But after this whole battle takes place, Matsumoto comes in and saves Momo because, dude, I mean, it's crazy. It seems like all these people in Soul Society, Kurosuchi and now, Jin or Gin, no one gives a fuck about anybody else.
No, for sure. And I think that like also that's why Byakuya is like kind of like being so cold because like he doesn't know like who to trust maybe because everyone again has their like own like motives on what's like actually going on or trying to get what they want from the situation. Like that's why I think he's not like taking sides or trying to save Rukia and maybe has like another plan in place. I don't know, but he's definitely in on something. I just don't know what.
Yeah, maybe
because I don't believe he's like completely heartless. Like,
but he was going to let that execution happen.
Yeah, for sure. But I feel like they're just painting him up to be this like cold, heartless guy. Like I feel like there's way more to his character than like what's being portrayed or like his lines. I don't know. I just feel like there's something.
Yeah. Rukia's execution also gets moved up again.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it was so funny. It was like, again, with like the death of that girl for Tosen. It was like, yeah, Tosen, like the clouds. And then she is like, I'm going to be the best for you. And then she died. And it was like, okay, maybe I should like extend this training session. Maybe, we have 8 full days. Rukia, your appointment will be tomorrow. And I was like, dang.
Oh, he did it again.
Kubo psyching me out.
This is the fake out arc right here.
Fake out.
But this
For
is
real.
where, back to, you're talking about Ichigo training. This was back when, this was so funny to me when I went back and reread it. Obviously, I love Renji so much. But it was so funny to me to see just Renji just kind of like pop in.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, don't mind me. I'm going to be over here doing my own Bankai training, dude. You keep doing your thing. I'll stay out of your way. Like, he just popped in and popped out. He was like, he finished his training too and like left.
He's like, you're good, right?
Yeah.
It's like they're at the gym. They're just at like the gym.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to do a few sets. Don't mind me. I'm putting my headphones in. If you need me, like just give me like a holler. But I'm going to be over there like working on working on my
Yeah,
quads.
I'm gonna be working on my
glutes.
quad pacto over here.
Quad pacto.
Yeah.
That's good. You could tell we go to the gym.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge gym head.
I'm a huge gym rat.
Yeah, I'm a gym rat. I'm a gym fan.
Gym. Which gym?
The one from The Office.
I thought
Gym from The Office.
Gym from The Office. Okay.
I like it.
Gym. What's another one?
No,
Earthworm Gym.
Earthworm Gym. Yeah, Earthworm Gym.
Slim Gym.
I don't really like Slim Jims that much.
Bomb.
Yeah, you can have that.
They're trashy, but they're good. They get.
I mean, I love
they get the
trashy
job
food.
done.
I love trashy food that gets the job done, but Slim Jim ain't it for me. I'm
You're
more
not
of a
living life,
I'm
my
more of a
friend.
7-Eleven, roller guy.
See, I think that's worse.
I think they're equally as bad.
I don't know about that. There's a lot of good things in Slim Jims.
All right, well, I'll do my own research.
Take my word for it.
This is where we get a little bit more about Rukia and Rukia's flashback of Kaien, who's this Ichigo doppelganger.
Oh yeah, and I remember you saying something about this character a while ago, or someone. Yeah, I think it was him because it looked exactly like Ichigo.
Yeah, it's him and also one of the assistant captains who
Who
has by the way, who has 69 on his face.
Oh,
Yeah.
like Takashi 69.
Yeah, like Takashi.
Oh, it's Takashi 69 is in this.
Yeah, he is.
Oh my god,
It's
what?
it's just so weird that I never noticed that either as a kid. Like you'd think even as a high school kid, I'd be like, oh, 69 on his face, but I didn't even notice that until like today when I was like finishing,
You're like,
reading.
that's cool.
Yeah, I was like, is that 69? Hell yeah, this guy rules.
My new favorite.
Yeah, but we find out more about him, and he is an Ichigo lookalike. But also, I think it's why Rukia is so endeared to Ichigo because Ichigo reminds her of him so much.
Yeah, and going through what they went through with that fight with the
hollow?
The hollow that killed his wife pretty much, or ate her. And there was that cool like parallel, remember where we saw like previously about that like kind of like monologue about pride and how Rukia, I think, told another character when Ichigo was fighting to like, don't stop him. Like he needs to do this for his own good because like, he's fighting for his pride. Like if you jump in now, you're going to ruin it. And I thought that was so cool. Mm-hmm. She like learned.
Yeah, I mean,
do you remember that moment?
That's when they were fighting the Grand Fisher, and she said the same thing that she learned that night.
Yeah.
And again, I think that she is reminded of him. Ichigo reminds her of him, and she not only, I do think she kind of had a little bit of a crush on him, but I also think that she just really felt like he was one of the first people to really truly just accept her.
I agree with that. I mean, I was like joking, like, oh, he's a married girl, like, but I think it was just like kind of like a platonic, I look up to this person. Yeah, respect for sure. But I mean, like, if he was like, hey girl, like I'm leaving my
she'd
wife.
be like, yeah.
It's kind of unfortunate that he, perished the way he did because the wife's out of the way, out of the picture. Ruki just step in.
She could have, yeah.
But it is what it is.
It is what it is. Rest in peace, dude. But it was a really cool fight and flashback for the sake of time. We won't linger here for too long, but it was really cool to see. The real side of the story of how he was, or the real reason too why Rukia had to kind of put him out of commission, and Rukia still has a lot of doubts about herself, and doesn't think she's worth saving or anything. But this is also where like Byakuya, and I don't know if you noticed this either. Byakuya is like being called to the execution, and he looks like he's like looking at a picture of Rukia. But it doesn't quite look like Rukia, but it looks a lot like Rukia. Yeah. And he's looking at this picture, and the execution's about to start, and he's like, okay. Someone's like, yeah, we got the execution starting. Like, we got to go. And he's like, I'm going. Or he's like talking to himself, like, I must go. And he like closes the thing.
I have a feeling because they said something about her Gigai, right? When they found, like, when she first came into society, they were kind of like shocked at her Gigai. And they said like, wow, like this Gigai, like something special about this. Like,
oh, they did say that.
Yeah. So maybe like, he did have a real sister and she died and looks like Rukia.
Yeah.
Something. Yes, and that's why he was like, oh, he saw her and Renji and was like, oh, she could be perfect. She can go back into the family. And maybe it's just like kind of like that surface level. Like, you look like this person. Same thing she has with Kaien and Ichigo.
Yeah.
Just a theory.
I mean, that's what my grandpa did. Every time a chihuahua died, he got the same chihuahua, named it the same thing. So it's like it never died.
Yeah.
It's a little dark, but it's also, people do it.
People's clone.
Yeah, people clone.
People clone, yeah. People clone. What a real statement.
Whatever. No big deal. But that was a little interesting moment. And then it cuts back to, now we get that Kenny versus Tosin. And Komamura.
Komamura, so sick.
Yeah.
I was like, who is this medieval knight looking guy? And I was like, oh my God, that's so cute. I love it. I want more characters that are like fantastical like this. I mean, everyone is like, like very attractive and cool. Like I just love it.
Yeah, well, definitely as the world expands, you'll definitely get a lot more interesting characters. But I do love his character design. I love him as a character, as a captain. I think that his battle with Tosin was really cool. And unfortunately, we don't really get to see a big fight between him and Komamura. But I do think that his fight with Tosin and Tosin's Bankai being that darkness. And I love, too, how he's just spinning that ring on the hilt of his sword. And then it kind of expands like a freaking portal from like, one of those Marvel movies or whatever.
It really was. It was awesome. And like, I love Kenny's like inner monologue of like everyone giving him advice on what to do. And he's like, can't do that. Yeah. No, you're stupid. Get out of here.
Yeah.
And then he finally like figures it out and kind of like outsmarts him because the only way it can stop is if you touch the blade, or you can see when you touch the blade. So he just figures like, okay, I'll wait for him to strike next, and just grabs his hand and the blade, and he's like, I see you now. And I was like, oh, this guy's crazy, party animal.
For real. And it's so crazy that we could be having this huge fight and not even, and Tosin is giving this huge dialogue or speech about justice and even having this emotional flashback. But I do think that Kubo is kind of being purposeful with like how he is showing what is happening, because you're still on Kenny's side, even or I was. I mean,
same.
Even after this flashback, even after this battle, I'm still on Kenny's side. I like Kenny more than Tosin, and I think that's purposeful. I think you're supposed to like Kenny a lot more because Kenny's just sick.
Yeah,
he's down with the sickness.
Totally. That's probably like his theme song. What's his theme song?
Yeah,
we all love theme songs.
Probably a lot of Bleach AMVs with Kenpachi and Down from the Sickness.
Down from the sickness.
Yeah, for sure.
Down with the sickness.
Down for the sickness.
No, it's
a different song. Look it up.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, this fight was so sick, and like you said, Kenpachi really had to think on his feet, and I don't even think he was really even aware of the fact that all he had to do was touch the blade. I think he just knew that was at least a way he could grab him.
I mean, maybe Kenny was just like drowning him out, like, because he kind of explained that.
Yeah. Yeah, he was just
like heroes always say, like, their weakness.
Yeah.
The only way you could stop me is if you touch this part of my body. It's like, why would you even say that? Just let it be.
But I don't think Tosin did, and I think that, Kenny was just planning on getting stabbed. In my mind, my headcanon is he was just planning on getting stabbed. And at least then he could just grab him. Yeah. And he just so happened to grab the sword and was like, oh, I don't know if the sword's doing this.
Are you?
It's like, I don't know if the sword's doing this or you're doing this, but I can see everything now. Yeah. Love him. And he's, able to defeat Tosin. And he was going to go toe-to-toe with 4 people, 2 captains and 2 vice or assistant captains. But they kind of broke off because Ikaku and the pretty boy, whose name I always forget, kind of split off. And they kind of dealt with them. And, Kenpachi only had to deal with the 2. Mm-hmm. But so he kind of gets rid of Tosin and then has to deal with Komamura. But Komamura, right as his, helmet, or if you want to call it that, gets sliced or knocked off, his identity is revealed. He unleashes his Bankai, and then they feel the pressure of the execution start.
That Bankai was sick.
The Bankai was super sick.
His Bankai was sick. I was like...
And we also know where his loyalty lies, and that's back to finding out where everybody's individual loyalty lies, is that his is with the old guy, the head guy, because, again, he feels like he was... people never gave him a shot or didn't want to be around him or just thought he was a monster because of the way he looked. And this person took him in, accepted him, believed in him. So he owes his life and is willing to do whatever this person says. So we know where his loyalty lies. And that's the cool thing. I think on top of Bankai, we're also finding out where everybody's loyalties lie. But their fight is interrupted by the presence of the weapon or the execution starting, and I really wish we could have seen Kenpachi go after that Bankai, or Kenpachi versus that Bankai. That would have been so sick. But it'll happen, or something, or we'll get to see it again in some way, shape, or form. But this is where like Renji also comes back, and Renji has a little fight with Byakuya. And I'm sorry, Renji, I love you, dude, but you were way too cocky in this moment, dude. You came in way too hot, dude.
Way too hot.
Yeah, dude, you're not Ichigo. I know you think you are, and I know you want to be, but you are not, dude. You came in ready to fuck some shit up, and you got fucked up, dude. I
don't know why he expected anything different. I mean everyone is terrified of this man.
And yeah, he came in so aggressive. And it's like, that's his captain. Like, he should know all of his moves and know how powerful he is.
For real.
And know that because again, like,
That's a good point.
Like, he did unleash his Bankai, which was Renji's Bankai, which was so sick.
Yeah.
And I love, like, their little changes to their, robes, too. Yeah, awesome. But, he knows that Byakuya isn't really, like, Byakuya hadn't unleashed his Bankai yet, and he's already talking like he won the fight. And even Byakuya's like, I have a Bankai too, right? Like,
You're like, you think that you won somehow.
Yeah.
And I haven't even really, it's like he's like putting all of his cards out on the table immediately. I mean, maybe because he thinks that he has to in order to like even get a head start or whatever. But I did like that line when he's like, you couldn't even get me to one knee. And then he like gets him down to one knee. He's like, oh, look who's a bitch now. Like that was a cool moment.
Yeah, that was a cool moment. And actually, Byakuya's Bankai was a sick moment.
Dude, that was awesome.
Yeah. Just to see him like Bankai, and he like drops his sword and it's just like through the ground, and then all these like blades start popping up around him, and then he does his kind of move. It was so sick, dude. And that's what I love about all their Bankai, so specific to each individual person, and just I even the way that the subtlety in the way they unleash it to like Byakuya's way of in the anime, in my memory, and in kind of in the manga, it seemed like he did kind of say it, quietly, where he's like, Bankai, and he dropped the but like some people are like, most people are like screaming it, like Ichigo's like Bankai, like screaming,
I thought it was cool too, that like moment with Renji and Ichigo, like they're kind of it changed the first time, and I was like, Ichigo's in the fight now?
Yeah, right.
And then I was like, oh no, he's in like two different places, but they say the same thing. You know, it's like, I promised. And he's like, to whom? And he's like, to no one but myself. And they say the same thing. I was like, lit.
Well, it is because, Renji's always kind of, not necessarily maybe looked up to Byakuya, but always wanted to surpass him. And I think now he is also like, I think that shot is the way it is, or those panels are the way they are, because he's also competing with him and Ichigo are a lot alike, and they are competing. And so he's going to have to surpass Byakuya, but he's also going to have to surpass Ichigo.
Yeah, and also, I mean, like, I think definitely his relationship with Byakuya is like way more personal than Ichigo. I think that like Ichigo, it's like definitely like a strength thing more so than it is like, this is literally someone who like I entrusted Rukia with, which is like pretty much my family, my sister, my only family, and like he's like not willing to help her, doesn't want to help her, like doesn't care if she dies, and he's just like revved up. He's like, I care about this person, and I'm not gonna like lie to myself anymore like he was in the beginning of just like playing it cool, seeing like Ichigo kind of strive to be better for Rukia is like, damn, I need to be better for Rukia and myself.
Yeah, it was really awesome the way those panels were laid out. But and there's that also, I just wanted to mention too, before we move on from this, that there was a beautiful line about it's more difficult to tear down than it is to build, and it's more difficult to tie than it is to untie.
That was deep.
Yeah, that was, I mean that is such a, it is the most impactful, was the most beautiful line to kind of sum up everything. Yeah. I mean, it just, and especially with the panel of Rukia and Renji as that line is being said, it's so much more difficult to tie than untie.
Yeah.
And to see them side by side. I mean, that part was a very, very beautiful moment. Then it cuts to Gin again.
Bro, tripping, smoking something. He goes,
crack.
like, actually, Rukia, if we're going to be real, I could release you right now.
Yeah.
I could let you go right now. You can get out of here. You could be safe. And Rukia's just like, really? And he goes, no, I was kidding.
Yeah, he's like,
JK.
Psych. Yeah, he's like, psych, bitch.
No, for real. He was, I just here to, tease you a little bit. I'm like, you're not, get out of here. And even like the executioners, like the people holding her is like, what are you saying?
Yeah. They're like, why are you saying this, Captain?
I know. Like, get out of here.
But what the sad thing is that Rukia had kind of come to terms with everything and kind of made her peace, but she realized that she really hadn't when he starts toying with her because she realized that she did have a sliver of hope left.
And that panel of her just like falling to her knees, like, damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, and her speech too, like right before it's gonna happen, was really cool too.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was really sad.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was such a beautiful moment and a heartbreaking moment again, because just her realizing that within herself.
Mm-hmm.
It devastated even her, because she was like, I was lying to myself. I thought I really had, and I'm sure I really had, but this makes me realize that I'm not ready to die, or I don't want to die. And I mean, it was so heartbreaking. But her execution is moments away from happening. Everybody's kind of gathering around the Kyoku.
And they're like, not a really big turnout.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think? This is like a fair? Like,
yeah, someone's dying, and this is not a game. This is not a TV show. Someone's dying. But we find out, that Ukitake, her former captain, is planning on destroying it. So we know that some captains are showing there with the intention of destroying it before whoever's plan that is.
Gang.
Yeah, whether it's Toshiro or not, like it seems to be someone's plan, and they're going to stop it. Yachiru, Kenny's assistant captain.
I love her little interactions with Orihime. She's like, I don't know if she's like jealous of her because it's like, I'm Kenny's only girl, like bitch, like that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Not like in a sexual way, just like as like a like daughter, like
yeah. She's
jealous.
like that. Yeah, she's
it's like a lady dating your dad. You're like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's how
she's
it is.
Get away from him.
Yeah.
But this is also where and I don't mean to brush past everything, but just for the sake of this episode not being 2 hours long, I'm just trying to get through it. But their interactions are so cute, and she runs away like super fast, and she's like, "I'll catch you guys later." Awesome. But this is what I didn't really love necessarily, or not that I didn't love, and I get why it's here. It's here to parallel sort of Renji's relationship with Byakuya, because we see this guy Rikishi show up with Hanataro to save Renji, or to heal Renji.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell that this kid is someone who looks up to Renji and admires Renji and wants to be just like Renji, much like I think Renji always looked not necessarily up again, but looked up to him in terms of like wanting to surpass him, wanting to be as strong as him, wanting to be able to defeat him, be better than him, someone to look up to, something to strive for. And I think this kid does look at Renji as more of a role model, and I get why we're seeing this here, to show us the difference and to show us this kind of comparison. But it was just like this kid kind of shows up with Hanataro, and then Renji was like on the brink of death. Okay, this guy was like thousands, hundreds of thousands blades, so many fragments of blades. It even said Byakuya said they were uncountable. And they all sliced through him, blood's coming out everywhere. I mean, this man can't even stand up. This man is done. And then these two show up and just like heal him. And literally Renji gets up. It's kind of crazy. Like he gets up, like ties his little thing around his head. Like we brought you new robes too. He's like, all right, I'm ready. And it's like, dude, I mean, he is unscathed now, ready to go back, which, I mean, I'm more so just like poking fun at it, but it was also crazy in the manga. I was like, that was crazy. Like he got healed and he's ready to go again so fast.
I mean, maybe he wasn't like completely healed. He
Maybe.
just, he had to get up to do what he had to do. He had to get up to complete the plan that he had started to save Rukia. Maybe he pushed past
and I know
that.
he's got the drive, okay, and I love Renji. I love Renji, and I know he's going there. I know he's trying to compete with Ichigo because he even has that flashback of it's like you said, the comparison of both of them getting up at the same time, both of them, of digging deep within themselves to find the strength to move forward. And again, it was just it was jarring. I was just like, oh my God, I mean, he didn't even have any bandages. I mean, this man was showering. Hanataro was working a miracle on him. He kind of did the same to Ichigo, but Renji is no Ichigo. But maybe I'm just not giving Hanataro enough credit.
You aren't. He shines. I love him.
I do too.
He's so cute.
But then it cuts back to the Kiko, the Firebird King, which is what this weapon is, the Sokyoku, this execution weapon. It looks like a firebird, a phoenix. It is, when it's unleashed, it is insane looking. And these cubes, I love the design, the geometric design of this execution.
It's kind of like a cross.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is these cubes come up and then Rukia floats up like a cross and gets bound to this scaffolding, and it's just it's visually so cool and so crazy. And then to see this mythical giant flaming phoenix looking bird come is insane. And it's the moment of her execution. She's about to be done, but of course someone comes in to save her at the very last minute, and that someone is none other than Ichigo. And Ichigo looks like he's dressed a little differently too. Looks like he's definitely got a little upgrade for sure. It looks like he has mastered for sure his Bankai. We haven't seen it yet, but I mean, he's looking a little too confident and a little too fresh to have not.
For real. That would be shocking. He's like, oh, I can only do what I was doing before. I don't know how to do Bankai yet. After all that,
he's like, oh yeah, I forgot. I didn't.
No. And everyone's like, who is this?
Yeah, everybody is so blown away and impressed by him, by what he's able to do, because he's able to stop this thing, and nobody thinks that he's capable of stopping this thing. I think that there are some there that aren't capable of stopping this thing, and are completely blown away. And we do get to see how much strength he truly has gained, because he is on fire here, dude, and he seems unstoppable.
He's on fire. He's a little too cocky. Riki's like, how dare you come back? Blah, blah, blah. He goes, just shut up and watch. I was like, damn, Ichigo. Shit.
Yeah. But I mean, we see his strength because he not only does that, but he like I said, he breaks through. He stops this this Firebird King, and also some of the captains jump in to take some actions too. And there's a logo on it, which is the Shihoin family crest, which I don't remember enough about to know exactly what that means, but I'm sure it is relevant and will be relevant later.
Yeah.
But again, Ichigo is not only able to free Rukia, but he's able to destroy the scaffolding, this super powerful, indestructible weapon. He's like, yeah, just sit back and watch. And he does the damn thing.
He really does.
And people are, like you said, people are in awe. And I think it's because a lot of them there could not do that. But we get to see how crazy powerful he is because Renji shows up. He throws Rukia, and their reunion too. It was a cute reunion. I like the reunion. I do think the first time he saw her though was a little bit more impactful because it was the first time he hadn't seen her, or he had seen her since she got taken to Soul Society. This is the second time he has seen her. So while this was his triumphant badass moment, I do think that first time was it hit me a little bit more. But he throws her down to Renji. And at first when Renji shows up, I thought, because he was holding up Rukia, I thought he was going to be like, haha, I got her first. But he holds her up and then throws her down.
He yeets her.
He yeets her? He does. He throws her to Renji. Renji starts running. These vice captains or assistant captains go after him. And this is what I mean about Ichigo's strength. Ichigo plows through these assistant captains like they are chumps, like they are kids.
I mean, yeah, you think about it. I mean, he's already fought a lot of really powerful people. Like Kenny was no joke. And even that was before he had all this training under his belt, this 3 days of training or whatever. He's a madman.
He is a madman for sure. And, we got a lot of comments too. And I do, again, remember, but there's so much I don't remember. But I was reminded of the fact that there are reasons why this is the case. This isn't something that just is happening because Ichigo is, he is just a
very powerful guy.
Yeah, very powerful guy for no reason, or that he is just this like typical shonen protagonist that is just strong but there is a reason and an explanation for it. But we do see how much he's grown, and even Yoruichi during his training said like he's really picking up on it super fast.
Yeah,
and
even Rukia too is like, wow, like Ichigo, you've grown like so much stronger.
Yeah. And yeah, she said that Yoruichi said that he was having a harder time with the Bankai and like taming or defeating Zangetsu, but that he was getting so much more capable in combat. And
in combat for sure, it was like, I think spirit energy was what he was like kind of lacking in. That's why she was kind of like, dang, should we push a little more for a couple more days? I don't know if his body can handle it. But even, Bucket Hat was like, he's even more, you know, capable than I am, which is like crazy to think about because, I mean, Yorishi's like boss. Like, I'm not going to say too much because you haven't read it yet. I mean, you've read it, but like haven't read it yet. But like these like next couple chapters, like, woo! My girl gets it. Like, she is so fucking dope.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I really do think that things are about to pop off. This next episode is going to be, this next like part of this arc is going to go crazy.
Yeah.
But all that really does happen is that Ichigo also does make a promise that he wants to save everybody that helped him. And after he defeats these 3 vice captains, he squares off against Byakuya. So again, what I do like about this little arc or section of this arc is that we start with a fight with Byakuya and we end with the fight with Byakuya.
And like you said, it was a really good point. Like we kind of know where everyone stands now. So it's going to be, whoever is for, destroying this thing or like saving Rukia. Now they're all kind of like on this like crazy big battlefield. Everyone was once on the same side, no longer on the same side. And it's really cool to have that like dynamic because again, like it just makes it feel so much more real. If you have like, manga that, there's distinctive people that are against another group of people. Well, this is like, it's like a mix of, we have like groups now, like Orihime and all these people like Chad are working with Kenny and it's just so cool. And I can't wait to see, cause it is like popping off. And, I want to see more of, like Rukia when she's like unshackled, like Byakuya. I feel like we're going to see for sure the next arc, like why he was like so maybe standoffish. Like I want to see a little bit of like humanity from him because I feel like he has it. It's just not, he isn't want to let it go or whatever. I feel like he's going to be humbled a little bit, which I'm excited to see.
Yeah, I mean, again, for me revisiting this, I like Ishida was a major highlight of this for sure. And getting to see him, his backstory and his fight and his capabilities, even though at the end he has apparently lost his Quincy abilities, this was a highlight. I do really like that we're finally having the concept of Bankai be introduced. That, of course, is the other highlight, getting to see Ichigo and Zangetsu. I love their dynamic, how they play off each other, how Zangetsu really is helping to mold and train and strengthen Ichigo, and how their bond is becoming stronger. The concepts of Bankai across the board, getting to see other people's Bankai for the first time, getting to see Renji's, getting to see Byakuya's, getting to see all these people's. It was so awesome, and I'm glad we're finally here. I've loved this concept, and I love how it is used throughout the story. And I'm just glad we're here. On top of that, like you said, I think that this arc was amazing because we also did get to see the sides. The sides have been revealed. It is a divided battlefield now. People are changing, and that's what I love. I love when you start with side A and side B, then chaos ensues, and now some people from side B are on A, and who knows? Maybe some people on side A will be on side B.
That's what I'm saying. And it is like, it is, like I said, like it's like a murder party, like who done it type of thing. And no one really knows who to trust. No one really knows like who did it. Is it these people that just infiltrated Soul Society? Is it one of them amongst each other? And I just know that majority of the people are like Jin, suspect number 1. I know that for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. We're coming towards the end, but I want to say this to wrap it up. Things are going to be answered. Like a lot of things are going to be answered. Who is your outside of Jin or Gin? Who are your let's say like? Do you want to do top 2 suspects, or do you want to do?
I mean, honestly,
or you could even say that you don't think that we've really met them yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I mean, maybe it's like I don't think Jin and Byakuya would like team up, but I know that Byakuya knows something that maybe no one else does. And I know Jen obviously might know what has happened. I don't know. I don't want to pin it all on Jin because that's what like Kubo's like trying to like put you towards. Like he's the one that did it. He's the one pulling the strings, but I don't think it's him. And I think it's gonna be like a crazy moment. Like it's gonna be something that you don't expect. I know that for sure. I know that much. Like I know he loves to do that.
Yeah, I mean, without giving anything away, I do want to say that I remember loving this reveal and that it is something that is going to for sure happen in the next part, and it is going to sort of define a lot of the series after. Like what happens at the end of this arc really does sort of define the direction of everything else that happens, and questions not just who's behind this, but other things get revealed and get answered. And the payoff, to me, in my memory, is big. So I'm so excited to go back.
Ichigo, like, explanations of, like, why he is strong in this arc, do you think? Like, I think is, most of the stuff tied up, or is it, like...
not all of it, but a lot of it, I would say. Not even maybe most of it, but I do think a lot of it is sort of answered. Okay. But then, with a good mystery, there are other questions and other things that get brought up. But it goes down. I'm excited to see if that reveal and that payoff is still just as satisfying as it was 10 years ago. I can't wait to get there. I can't wait to get there for me, but I more so can't wait to get there for you because I want to see your reaction and hear kind of your thoughts on the conclusion and the reveals of Soul Society. And then we'll be done with Soul Society completely, and we'll be moving on our Dunkai journey.
I know. I feel like I'm going to get like a badge. I'm going to get like a little star, gold star on my manga.
You do.
Shoulder armor.
Kubo mails you one, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It's like, I finished Soul Society of Bleach. Yeah. Like, I finally get to put that on my roster.
It does feel like sometimes in the anime manga community, there's like a Boy Scout sash, and you just get to put. It's like my anime list, the sash.
Yeah.
I'm sure people would love to wear them around, and like you can only wear patches of ones you've completed. People would love that.
I like it. I always get excited when I get that to my list. I'm like...
Yeah. You stay on top of it. I let it fall to the wayside, and then I have to go back and try to remember everything that I watched. But anyway, that is going to do it for another Dunkai episode. Woo! Soul Society, the Rescue arc, part 1. We did it. Stay tuned for part 2 because part 2 is where it goes down. It's going to be an episode that you're not going to want to miss. But that's going to do it for this episode. Before we go, though, we have to shout out and we have to thank our wonderful, beautiful, amazing Patreon members. Thank every single one of you from the bottom of our hearts for all of your support. If you noticed, we have new microphones. We have some new mic stands, some new things, and some upgrades. And it is because of your support and because of the growth that we've been able to achieve because of you and everybody watching and listening. That we've been able to start doing these things. It's 10K. We figured we deserved a little bit of an upgrade. And thank you for that. And just like sharing, if you've shared these videos with people or just anything and everything that you've done, it just means the world to us and it blows us away. You guys are absolutely amazing. You have our hearts, and we couldn't do what we do without you. This show, the quality of this show, is what it is because of you guys, and we both love you guys so much.
So much.
So thank you again from the bottom of our hearts. But if you would like to become a Patreon member, if you're not one and you would like to become one, then all you got to do to get early access to all these episodes, the Dunkai episodes, the Dun Piece episodes, all our regular episodes, Volume 1 Extra, a Patreon exclusive bonus podcast. If you want to get early access and access to that, then all you have to do is go to patreon.com/volume1pod or click join on this video to become a YouTube member. And you get that at our lowest tier on both places. So it's pretty cheap. $3 on one, $5 on the other. And that's just because of, certain things take a certain amount out. But if you would like to become a Patreon member and help us grow and raise our production even more and allow us to even put even more into the show, then you can become a Patreon member going again to patreon.com/volume1pod or clicking join on this video. But if you are not in a position right now to donate financially or to help out financially, do not worry at all, because there are plenty of other ways that you can show your support and help almost equally, that we do appreciate equally, that Mehgan will tell you about right now.
Yes. If you don't have 10 years to build up savings, and you only have, I wouldn't even say 3 days. Let me just like squash it to like even a minute, a couple seconds. All you have to do is become part of our, what we call our algorithm gang. All you have to do is comment, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And it does help us out. And it acts as a free tip to us. It is genuinely the same as supporting us financially. It really does help us out a lot. You can comment anything you want to comment, some theories that you have if you've never read Bleach, if you're reading with us, favorite moments in this first part, and anything at all. And it really just helps us out immensely.
Yes. And sharing these videos with other Bleach heads because our videos are long form and YouTube doesn't always favor that in the algorithm. That helps us out a lot. And leaving a review, if you're listening to the audio version of this, helps us out a lot too. If you're able to leave a review wherever you listen at, all that stuff helps us out so much. We're here at 10K because of everybody. That is because of everybody, all our Patreon members and all of our listeners and all of our viewers. It's because of everybody. So thank you guys so much. And I cannot wait to see where we go from here. Mm-hmm. And we're going to go together.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's going to do it for another episode. Thank you as always for watching and listening. The only thing left to do now is to get out of here on our outro that is always the same and never changes, which today, Mehgan, is... I mean, we got to say Bankai.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just so much of it.
Bankai. What's wrong with Bon?
Bon voyage.
Bon voyage. Kai. Yeah. I guess Bankai.
Bankai. I think it's just.
Okay.
This was like. I feel like it's.
It has to be.
Yeah, I feel like it has to be. It has to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And until next time, Bankai!
Bankai!
Yeah, we decided on what your Bankai would be, but we never decided on what my Bankai